Hello everyone and welcome to my channel called Demon Storytime. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel, for your likes, for your comments, for your donations. All information for donations you can find down below in comments. Anything you wish to me may 100 times to return to you back. Thank you so much. And today we continue reading this lovely book called Fairy Tales. And our story will be called The Little Mermaid. Here is the lovely drawing. The waves heaved themselves in the air and fell on the ship like the black blocks of a whale, smashing the aftermast to matchwood. False fire gathered around the mizzen, and the cargo in the hold slid from side to side like the clapper in the bell. With a dreadful splintering crack, the ship broke its back. "Abandon ship, she's going under," called the captain. Though his words were snatched away like fish by gulls. Down on the seabed, the bells of drowned ships rang kneel for the wreck of another, and the mermaids were stirred from their sleep by the surface to sink to the music of the storm. No one sang like Marina. It was there that she saw him, a young man clinging to a broken spear, eyes shut, hair awash in the creamy foam. She thought he was the most beautiful soul she had seen in all the tides of her saltwater life. Water washed over his face, in and out of his mouth, and she knew that he could not live long in the cold and the violence of the pounding sea. As a wave dragged him off the spar and sunk him, she caught him in her gleaming arms and carried him, his head on her breast, away from the foundering ship, away from danger, all the way to shallow waters and a beach. With her tail thrashing the soft sand, it was all they could do to roll the young man out of the sea, where he lay, held dead with exhaustion. Waiting for his eyes to open, she planted a single fervent kiss on his lips, and said, "I love you." Then voices on the cliff path sent her darting under the cover of the waves. Unwilling to leave, she stayed to eavesdrop. "Look! A sailor lost in the storm." It was a girl's voice. Running feet crunched down the beach. "No, not a sailor. Look at his clothes. A prince, surely." "Dead?" No, looks. His eyes are opening. "Lie still, sir. You are safe from the sea. Lie still. Marina told herself she was glad that she had saved a prince's life and that those who loved him would be happy pastwards. But how could she go back to the bottom of the sea, having seen this sun-kissed landman, having held him in her wide arms, having given her heart to him? He did not even knew she existed. With the storm raging within her, fiercer than the one which had sunk the ship, Marina swam out towards the morning horizon. But she returned time and time again. She turned to the shore where she had left him and listened to the fishermen working there, mending their nets, learned the name of her prince and the name of his homeland. Time and again she swam to the marble foundations of his seashore castle, to gaze at its fountains, its grand guests. She asked her sisters, "How can I leave the sea and go to him?" But her sister said, "It's impossible. Forget him. These humans are born and dead in a matter of years, not like us mer people." "All the more reason I must hurry," said Mermaid. "I must be with him. I'll give my hair to be with him." "I'll give my hair." "It would cost you more than that," said her sister unkindly. "Fishes die out of water." But Marina could not forget the prince. She took her courage in both her white hands and swam to the lightless deep sea, strange to the lair of the great sea witch. Oh, come on again, witch. "You came here out of love for a man?" said the sea witch, fanning herself with a purple found of sea color. "I do," said Marina. "Can you make me a human girl with legs to run to my love?" "At a price," said the sea witch. "Give me your voice, and I shall give you legs." How interesting. Marina put her hand to her throat. In lagoons and reefs, on the backs of turtles, and in the wake of wolves, she had sung her sweet mellifluous song for a century, sung to the strains of harp, seals, and birds' cries. Her singing was loved and admired by everyone, and without her voice, how would she? Well, that's the price. Your voice for a human form. Here is the mermaid swimming. As you can see. Everything is the price. "I'll pay it," said Marina, and the next moment she felt a pain in her throat of a crab crawled from its shell and saw her iridescent tail dissolve in a shower of scales. "Be sure and win his love, mind," said the sea witch, with a cackle like the crackling of dry seaweed. The day he marries another and gives his body and soul to her, yours will dissolve like that tail of yours into white sea foam. The prince was intrigued by the strange girl he found sitting on the harbor steps, just where he moored his wrong boat and where he liked to fish for dabs. This beautiful naked girl suddenly appeared once morning, and no one knew where she had come from. She looked at him with such large, affectionate eyes that he felt he must know her from somewhere, could almost remember her from somewhere. And yet, when he asked her name, where she came from, what she wanted, she said not a word. It was all very mysterious. Naturally, he took her in, gave her clothes and food and a room in the palace. She was extremely beautiful, extremely, and walked with the swaying elegance of a sea flower, and danced more lightly than anyone at court. But not knowing her story, her background, or what she wanted, it was a little baffling. Marina watched her prince like a fish imprisoned in a tank of water, looking out through the glass, gaping soundlessly. She could not tell. Here is some lovely drawing. A castle at the beach, a wave of fishes, and probably Prince and Marina. Yeah. Him. Then every step she took burned in the hollow veins of her legs like fire. Instead, she smiled and hoped that somehow in time her love would show in her eyes as clearly as a lighted lamp at the window. Marina and her prince became inseparable friends. They did everything together because there was nothing she was not prepared to do. Unlike most of the other young ladies, he knew this one loved to fish, to be out on the water, to climb mountains, and to walk in the rain. She also listened when he talked and never could interrupt. Oh. I hope our son is not becoming too attached to that strange young woman with the long hair, said the king. But the queen reassured him. Of course not, my dear. After all, she is only a poor dumb thing, a playmate, sometimes dangling the fiery agony of her legs in the cool water by the harbor steps. Marina felt a deadly homesickness for the sea, but she told herself that she had the friendship of her prince, and that was more than voice and tail and sea. Sacrifice everything for him. Then he told her of the wedding. We're cousins, though we've never met. She was sent to school overseas. Our parents have always wanted the match. Marina felt the struggle in her throat, powerless to escape. "You have me," she wanted to say. "Marry me, why not me?" But her voice was tightly sealed in a clamshell on the barnacles shelves of the sea witch's cave, and she could not make him understand. Here is beautiful girl missing her house, probably. Lovely mermaid. "You know," said the prince, "there's only one girl I shall ever love, whoever they find me for a bride." Marina's heart swelled and arched with happiness. It was enough. She was loved. And the souls of those who love one another are together forever when they die, aren't they? "Yes," said the prince. "It was before you and I met. I was shipwrecked one stormy night, and when I woke on the beach and opened my eyes, there was a girl looking down at me, a beautiful girl. She cared for me until I was fit to travel home, but who she was I'll probably never know. Oh, whoever are you crying? Little friend, it's not fair. It's not fair, it's not fair." The words beat at her brain like a hammer. If he had woken a moment earlier, the face he saw would have been hers. Marina felt robbed, cheated, as thought the girl on the beach had deliberately stolen away her every hope of happiness. Marina drew a deep, trembling breath. "But I am here, and she is not," she thought, "and that makes it all worthwhile." As the wedding came closer, the prince became more and more uneasy. "I do declare," he said, "if I can't love this cousin of mine, I shan't go through with the marriage. I shall marry you instead." They even traveled together by ship to the wedding. And in the ship's wake, Marina saw her sister swimming, beckoning, beginning her to leap overboard and join them. Their song came over the water as sharp as starling in Marina's ears. Come away, leave the world of men before it's too late." But Marina knew that it was already too late. She belonged to the world of men because her heart belonged to a man of the dry land. It was life or die, love or perish. Died, she thought, when she saw the prince's face. He had just glimpsed his bride, and the bride was none other than the girl on the beach, the one who had won his love with nothing more than a smile. Marina had to admit the princess was very beautiful. She was ashamed of the words hammering against her brain. It's not fair, it's not fair, it's not fair. That night, Marina stood on the deck of the ship, her legs on fire, her heart regret with regret. So she must die with the sunrise. The prince's heart was given to another girl, and Marina must dissolve into sea foam. Excuse me. For this she had deserted her own kind. For this she had given up the turquoise pools, the Wallace songs, the halls of pearls and scarlet coral. For this the sea witch had cast her tail into feeble little legs, silenced her singing. The bridal tent stood billowing on the deck, golden pennons steering, small silver bells jingling into the breeze. Inside slept the prince and his bride. The sea kissed the hull of their ship. Up toward the waves came 5 strange seal-like heads, wittily grotesque in the moon. It was her sisters, their heads shaved, their eyes big with shock. Something gleamed in the moon, a long knife with a curved blade. We sold our hair to the great sea witch to buy this. Kill the prince before morning, and you needn't die. Oh my God. You shall have back your tail. There are centuries more life waiting for you in the sea. Hurry, little sister. Their kindness moved her to tears. Oh, thank you, my dear, dear sisters. She mouthed into the wind. The long knife arced through the air and rattled on the deck at her feet. She snatched it up and ran. Oh, the pain of running! To lift the flap of the bridal tent. There lay the prince, his bride's head on his chest, his hands full of her hair, one below, and Marina would be free of her disastrous burden, free of pain, free to live. The sharp rim of the sun was just cutting the wire of the horizon. Her blood seemed already to be turning to sea foam. She followed her 2 hands round the hilt, kissed the blade, and flung the knife away over the ship's rail. Kill her, prince, not for a world of sea treasure, not for 1,000,000 years of joy. Climbing a short way up the rigging, she threw herself headlong into the sea, feeling even as she fell her heart and body flaking into foam. And yet she never touched the waves. Her sisters, clutching each other in horror as they saw the precious knife thrown overboard, looked in vain for the dropped fragments of their dead sister. The sea was as smooth as gunmetal, and there was not one flake of foam. Then one mermaid shouted, and the others looked where she was pointing. There in the brightening sky, above the rosy clouds of morning, was the flicker of white wings. Gulls? No. On board ship the prince woke with strange misgiving and began searching for his little friend, calling, growing anxious, fearing she had fallen overboard. He gazed down into the sea, not up into the sky, of course. or he might have glimpsed she the angel, new made by God to watch over him and his bride and his unborn children and his children's children. Wherever such a quality of love is found in one heart, whether it is a mermaid's or a human heart, there are the making of an angel. So, before the long bladed knife had even fallen to the ocean bed, Marina had regained her voice and was, to her great astonishment, singing among shores of angels and the turquoise steeples of the sky. Very sad story. I don't like it. Thank you so much for coming. See you next time. Bye.